Today I want us to talk about the issue of rest. Now, all of us, when we're asked how we're doing, typically respond, man, I just feel like I've been so busy. So the question is, how can you find rest in the midst of a busy life? For many of us, we've studied the idea of Sabbath, but it just kind of seems impossible, either with the stage of life with our families and kids, or even with the jobs that we've walked in. See, the jobs sometimes are so demanding, and the pressures of this life feel like they squeeze all rest out of us. In the scriptures, we see different instances where people have felt like that. One of those we find in Exodus chapter 33. Moses has been leading his people towards the promised land, and they've stopped at Mount Sinai. But the difficulty of the situation is exacerbated by their sinful rebellion, not trusting and not being patient with God. And so Moses, not yet fully achieving leading his people into the place of rest, the promised land they've been given, is told by God that he will send them to a place of rest, but he will not be there. And so therefore there will be no rest. Because in Exodus 33, verse 14, as Moses cries out and says, "Don't abandon us, but come with us," God makes a promise and says, "I will go with you, my presence will be with you, and I will give you rest." There's so much that is packed into that verse. But one of the first things that we see is that for us to find rest, it's not always found in a 24-hour period, because we can set aside rest and not be refreshed. It's not found absent of a busy life, for Moses himself was very busy leading the people. It's found not in inactivity, but it's found in a person. It's found in God himself. That's why Jesus, when he came, said to the people, "All who are weary and heavy laden, come to me, and I will give you rest." Jesus now invites us in the gospel of Jesus Christ to find that his presence is with us by the Holy Spirit. So wherever we are, he is with us and he can give us rest. So even if you find yourself in the middle of a busy week, I encourage you that God is with you and he can give you rest. Be refreshed in your soul by connecting with him. Spend time in the scriptures. Even take time out of your day, whether it's 15 minutes or an hour at lunch, and take away that pressure and that busyness by setting aside time to open your word and pray to him, and find that his presence is where rest is found. Maybe you've been able to set aside time for Sabbath, but it's been filled with activity that has not refreshed you. Well, even there, God can meet you and give you rest. So take the Sabbath that you've set aside and infuse it with his presence, not just with activity that you enjoy, but enjoy it with him, so that in his presence you will find rest, because you will never find rest outside of that. Hear the promise given to Moses, the promise proclaimed by Jesus, and the promise that is given to us as the Holy Spirit is imparted to us. In his presence you will find rest. So may you, in the midst of your busy week, find rest with him.